Every Wednesday at this hour, for our co-host for the second hour, the distinguished political strategist, contributing editor of TheRoot.com, as well as the host of WURD Philadelphia Radio's Reality Check every day, 5 days a week. Charles Ellison, how you doing, Charles?
How are you doing, Reverend? Thanks for having me, as always.
Glad to have you. And as I came in a few hours ago, just about 3 hours ago, from the town hall meeting / rally last night for Shakisha Clemens in Mobile, Alabama, and the talk all the way from Alabama here and on the air today is on the words Kanye West put out. And one caller said we should not give him a lot of attention, but
right.
And I'm torn between that, to be honest with you. I had not said anything. I got out of the car and TMZ was waiting, and I did respond because he did do the interview on TMZ.
Right.
But at the same time, the other part of me says that with the fan base he has had, that I don't want young people, teenagers and others, to feel there's an iota of truth in what he said because no one answered.
Right. No, you're absolutely right, Reverend. I think that it is an important conversation. Also, what Kanye said, what he has been saying, not just during that TMZ interview, and I saw the whole exchange. I watched it as well, as many other folks did. Some folks didn't, and they're sort of taking bits and pieces of it. But at the end of the day, I mean, it has huge implications for the social and political climate that we're in right now. And you just said it. I mean, he has an enormous fan base. And it's not just a fan base of black folks or young black people. It's also a fan base of white people too, who are stepping back or stepping away from that conversation and feeling like some of their own misconceived notions about certain issues or topics are validated because of what Kanye is saying. I mean, so, first there is the whole comment about slavery, and I saw that entire comment, and there are folks out there who can say all they want that some of us are taking out of context. I know exactly what he was trying to say. He's trying to talk about, sort of the slavery of policed thought. He's kind of going on this rant about, promoting free thought. But if you don't know how to articulate what sort of point you were trying to make, particularly when you talk about slavery, or you have a lack of understanding about the complete history of slavery, then just shut up. Don't even mention it. But he does go into the history of slavery, and he implies that we essentially had a choice about what happened several hundred years ago, because he's also talking about the historical context of the Holocaust. So, he's comparing historical events. So he was making a statement about history. So, it's just that, I think he was trying to go in one direction and he got sidetracked and just completely derailed off into another direction. And he just needed to just stop while he was ahead. But I think, a couple of things going on here real quick. One is that, Kanye likes to make money. This is a great marketing ploy. Whether you think it's a meltdown or it's an opioid overdose or not, the vast majority of hip-hop consumers are white people, including pro-Trump white people, and this is a great play to get them to buy more Kanye products and Kanye merchandise, particularly when you say you overdosed on opioids. So I'm a bit cynical about exactly what his motivations are on this. And lastly, people need to think about the implications his conversation or what Killer Mike is saying on NRA-TV or what Chance the Rapper was saying in defense of Kanye and others. People need to realize the huge electoral implications this has in November 2018. And we're seeing the polling numbers on this, and it does not look good. This is the kind of conversation that can throw things off the same way that happened in 2016.
Well, it normalizes the kind of behavior that we're dealing with with this administration around voting, around policing and all, you have major cultural figures saying things, so you can't ignore it, and that's why I chose not to after really weighing this. You know, it bothers me that we have not learned what our parents and grandparents learned, and that is withdrawing our dollars. People need to know it's going to cost them to get out there freestyling. You can say whatever you want to say, but there has to be consequences.
Right.
And that's what we say in the Waffle House, that's what we said to Starbucks, and that's what we need to say to artists. And we need to deal with what are we saying to our young people. You know, as I said earlier before you came and joined us, tomorrow is the birthday of Godfather Soul James Brown, May 3rd. How do we go from James Brown singing Black and Proud to Kanye West saying slavery was voluntary? I mean, what are we saying? And how did we get here? And a lot of it is that we have allowed too much to go unchallenged and unchecked. And, you know, I ended up on a show, a TV show on MSNBC Saturday, and they said they wanted to have a Trump support on. It ended up being Reverend Mark Burns, and we got in a little heated discussion. And he, defending Trump. And he started talking about Kanye and this free-thinking black man. Like you and I that may support somebody else are not free-thinking. So they act like free-thinking is synonymous with taking positions that don't make sense. That's not free-thinking. I mean, free thinking is free thinking, and I may support some Democrats, some I don't, but don't act like somebody told me to support them because I've not supported them. So, I mean, their cop-out just does not make sense, which is why I said to Reverend Burns, if you saw it, fine, you support him, tell me the policy he has done or proposed for black folk. He couldn't name it. So what was you free thinking about if you can't even explain what led to your conclusion?
Exactly. I mean, you have folks like Reverend Burns and Kanye, they can't articulate those policy achievements, those policy accomplishments that are benefiting black folks directly or even indirectly for that matter. And it's really what you have here are a couple of things going on. One is being contrarian for the sake of being contrarian, which is irresponsible in and of itself. You know, you just want to take a different position just because, you sound unique or you look unique or, you know, you're suddenly breaking away from what you feel is the pack. You know, so that's the only way that you can sort of break out and have your voice heard is to say something really silly and artful, so as to get you noticed. That right there, you know, particularly for someone, a public figure like Kanye is extremely irresponsible, and it's unprofessional. I mean, and there's a lot of like cultural malfeasance that's taking place there when he does it. But you know, so there's that, and the other thing too is that free thought. I mean, even if this whole conversation we're having around free thinking and free speech. I mean, that particularly as it relates to our condition and the conversations that we're having as a community, as black folks, I mean, the stakes are too high for us to take that lightly. The stakes are too high for us to engage in that kind of conversation or any sort of free thought in any sort of irresponsible way, in a way that endangers us. And that kind of conversation that he's having, that can, and if it hasn't already started, can endanger us in very direct, very indirect, or very systematic ways.
And I think that is very important what you're saying. And I think that a lot of people just, you know, it's like those that say, well, I have the right to free speech. When I had come out with others against the N-word, and I have the right to free speech. And I said, you do it. I have the same right, which is why I'm speaking against you using N-word. I mean, it's like they want to limit it to where it justifies and rationalizes them. Like somebody can't answer that and be just as much a proponent of free thinking and free thought as anyone else. In 2007, when I decided to go with Barack Obama, that was against the Democratic establishment. Hillary Clinton was the former first lady.
Right.
That takes free thinking. But I didn't go with him because I wanted to be a free thinker. I went with him because I am a free thinker.
Right.
And I thought what was in the best interest of what I believe.
You know, another thing too, Reverend, is that we have to be very careful, and we have to watch